You're watching Prodos Games TV. Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be the first in a series of episodes called War College that gets us into the rules of Warzone, and we'll end up talking about a lot of different things. First thing I wanted to talk about is one of the things that makes Warzone unique, at least I think it does, in miniature gaming, and it's something I like a lot, and it's the use of resource cards. So every force or army in Warzone Resurrection is going to have resource cards to use. We'll get into how many and what you can use them for in just a second, but here's a look at the different resource cards that each faction has. Each one of the resource cards has a name that goes along pretty well with the corporation, or in Dark Legion's case, Dark Legion, that it belongs to. I'm not really sure why the Imperial one is named after an 80s supergroup, but maybe the designers were really big fans of the power station. In this episode, we're going to be talking mostly about the basic resource card rules, but we'll take a quick look at how the basic rules and advanced rules differ from one another and how you're going to use them in the basic game. In the basic and advanced resource card rules, you're going to get +1 resource card for every troop squad commander that's in your force. Not for support squads, not for vehicles or monsters or things like that, but for your troop squads. These are your basic grunts, and their troop squad commander is going to give you 1 more card. And you're also going to get additional resource cards based on the type of warlord that you purchase for a particular battle. Here's a quick chart that's going to show you how many resource cards each type of warlord gives you to begin the game with. In both the basic and advanced rules, you can use a resource card to give a model a 3rd action point, but you cannot use this for a vehicle to give it an extra action point. You can use a resource card to give a model a Heal 3 special ability. This basically gives it a 15% chance to save against a wound effect. You can use it to activate a squad special skill. We'll take a little closer look at that in just a second. You can use it to add a +1 to a rate of fire or rate of attack of a model's weapon. And then in the advanced game, you can use it to play a strategy, tactical, or a gear card out of your deck. We'll talk more about deck building and how that works in another episode. You can also use it to draw an extra card out of your deck, and you can use a resource card to discard a card from your hand. But with those things, we're going to get into those in another episode. What we'll do now is take a look at how we gain, lose, and use resource cards using the basic rules. As we already talked about, you're going to get +1 resource card for every troop squad commander that you have in the game. You're going to get a variable number based on the type of warlord you bring, and these are reusable resources. You're going to refresh them every turn at the beginning of the turn so you can use them again. When you use it, you exhaust it. At the beginning of every turn, you're going to refresh it so it's ready to be used again. When a troop squad commander dies, you lose the resource card that he had provided to you. Now, luckily, you can choose to lose it from one that you've already exhausted for the turn, but you are going to be down resource cards as your troop squad commanders die just as the game goes on. When your warlord dies, or I should say, if your warlord dies, you're going to lose half of what they provided at the beginning of the game, and you're going to round that up. And now on to using the resource cards, what you have them for. The first thing you can do is use it to give a model a 3rd action point. You can't use this for a vehicle, but for your models, which are going to be the bulk of your force that's on the table. This allows you to do essentially 3 things in a turn. Your regular troop models, including characters and heroes and squad commanders and stuff like that, have 2 action points that they can use during a turn. Generally, this means that you can move and shoot, or you can aim and shoot, or you can run and do nothing else, because run is a 2 action point action. Giving somebody a 3rd action point allows you to move and aim and shoot, or run and shoot, or do something like that. So it gives a model a little more versatility during a turn. In my experience, when you're playing the basic game, this is the use of resource cards that you're going to use the most. It just seems to be the most versatile to give your guys a little more that they can do during the course of a turn. Another thing you can use a resource card to do is to give a model a Heal 3 special skill versus a single wound effect. Basically, this ends up giving a model a 15% chance to save from taking a wound. If you roll a 1 through 3 on a d20, that's successful, you negate the wound effect. It's not a huge chance to save, but if you really need to hope for a guy to not be dead, it's better than nothing. You can use a resource card or sometimes resource cards to activate a squad special skill. Here's an example of what some special skills look like. These are special skills for the Capital Free Marines, and if you look down in the highlighted section here, you can see an active special skill. This is for them to use their C4 charges, and it says up to 2 Free Marines per game turn per squad can turn to burn 1 resource card to throw a C4 charge. What that turn to burn means is you're going to exhaust a resource card so they can do this particular activity. And then finally, with the basic resource card rules, you can use a card to modify the rate of fire or rate of attack of a model's weapon by +1, as long as they're allowed to do it. Some weapons cannot be modified, and it says in the rules, cannot be modified for any reason, but otherwise you can give a rate of fire or rate of attack +1. If the giving a third action point is what I use the most with the basic rules, this is probably what I use the next most, to just give an extra +1 chance to hit somebody. Okay, so that's our quick look at how the basic rules for resource cards work in Warzone Resurrection. It's something I like a lot in the game. It gives you as the player extra options to do with your troops from turn to turn to turn, and in the advanced game it only expands from there. So we'll take a look at the advanced resource card rules in another episode. But for now, hope you get some figures, get the rules online. They're free online at prodosgames.com. Go out and play some Warzone Resurrection, and I'll see you next time.